Hello and welcome to the District Stitcher number 4. It is currently March 5th, and yeah, it's been a fun little journey on the Flosstubes. So, if you are new here, which you probably are, because like I said, this is just number 4, so I feel like we're all pretty new. My name is Judy. I live in Washington, D.C., which you can conveniently tell by the art print that's over my shoulder. I've been stitching for several years, and this is a channel predominantly about cross-stitch, with the occasional rambling, coffee mugs, and book recommendations at the end. Because I have several other hobbies. My real hobby is collecting hobbies, let's be real. Or at least hoarding supplies for those hobbies, and then exploring them for about a week, getting really good at them, and then picking up another hobby. Cross-stitch has been a bit of a through line, though. It's the one I go back to the most often, so this channel will make it stick. So yeah, let's get right into it. I'm gonna put my coffee down. Yes, it's 2:30 in the afternoon. I'm having coffee, but such is life. All right, so let's jump right in. I do have a finish. As some of you who have seen my other couple videos know, I've been stitching through Waxing Moon Designs monthly trios. So I have finished March, and just as a reminder, here's January. On the camera, the snowflakes don't show up super well, but I don't know. It's kind of cute. It looks like it's almost embossed. And that was just done in Weeks Dye Works thread predominantly, with a little bit of DMC in there. That's how all of these are. Some extra fabric I had laying around, and this fabric is, I'm not sure what it is. It was just a scrap that was left from my husband's grandmother. Same with this one, I'm not sure what the fabric is. This was February. And all I did with these was, honestly, after the first one I tried lacing, and I hated it. I'll probably do it again for anything that I need to frame, but for these, I just honestly glued them down with Aleene's. I have like industrial size bottles of Aleene's. So this is February, and then this just has some magnet like tape on the back, and these go on our condo door, which is metal clad. So this sits inside the wreath, and I change my wreath seasonally, so I have 4 wreaths. I would have more, but I live in a condo in DC, so storage is a little bit at a premium. And then here's March. So I managed to get March done in time. As I said on the last video, these little shamrocks are like way too high. These little white swirls are supposed to be up here. But I had already stitched all of one shamrock, and I didn't feel like taking it out and redoing it, because I don't feel like the only person that really sees these are me, my husband, anyone who comes to our house, which is not many people. And like our neighbor might notice it. I don't know. It's not even really noticeable. And you wouldn't even know unless you'd seen the original pattern. So I just did this instead. I just moved the scrolls down. We all fudge things. If someone tells you they don't fudge a pattern, they're lying. Because, we all forget to count. I was watching Gilmore Girls when I was stitching this, so, I never actually, okay, so side note, tangent. I never watched Gilmore Girls when it was out on, originally, and I was in college, I think, because I graduated high school in 2000, and then went into college, so I think it either debuted in 1999 or in 2000, anyway, it was like my senior year of college, so I never actually watched it when it was out. It is super cute. It is way more fun than I thought, and I really enjoyed watching it. Although I have to say, Rory's romantic decisions drive me up the wall, because I'm now at the age where I agree with like the, King Triton in The Little Mermaid, where I'm like, girl, you are 16, sit down, Jess is a mistake, but everybody's gotta have the bad boy. But anyway, I'm in season 5 now, I think. whichever season I'm in, like, Luke and Lorelai are finally together. And I don't know that I want to watch the rest of it, because I know Rory's going to do something else stupid. And also, like, I'm pretty sure, because it was a cable show, I'm pretty sure, like, season 5, and then there's 2 more seasons to go. So, like, Luke and Lorelai have to break up at least once. And there has to be something, and then they're probably back together again. And so I just skipped ahead and watched the reunion. I may go back and watch the rest of it. I don't know. But the things that we did to TV relationships for the sake of cable ratings, I don't know that I can take it. So I am taking suggestions for cozy shows to watch while I'm stitching. The Good Witch was recommended to me because it sort of has that Gilmore Girls vibes, but I guess they're witches. I don't know. In that sort of like Hallmark type, oh, we've got a little bit of a secret power kind of thing. Which I love magical realism, so, I'm here for that. And then Virgin River is the other one, so I'll probably get back to Virgin River today. I don't know that that's necessarily cozy, but it might be kind of the vibe I'm going for. I don't know, we'll see. I do watch Flosstube a lot when I stitch, but sometimes I like to watch something with a little bit of plot, but that I don't have to pay super close attention to. So that leaves out anything with subtitles. So unfortunately, all the really awesome, like, Korean dramas and stuff, I really can't get to, because I can't do the subtitles, and I'm not watching a dub. Like, no. Anyway, tangent done. That was March. So let's get back to the stitching. I'll show you my whips. I'll pop up a picture here, for the monthly trio, the next monthly trio set that I'm doing, which is April, May, June. I have been stitching on April, and I got a smaller count fabric. This is Vintage Country Mocha. Hold on, let me put something. I don't know what. I think I'd have learned by now to have something ready for behind my stitches. This is Vintage Country Mocha, but it's a 40 count versus the 28 count that March is stitched on. So this is April. This is Weeks Dye Works thread, except for this green from the mound is hold on, I have it here, Classic Colorworks 4-leaf clover. And then there's a couple DMC colors that'll be in here, like the spaces between the white and the rabbit are going to be filled in with a DMC gray, and various things. So, yeah, that'll be April. It's a little bunny with a ribbon on its neck holding an umbrella. Again, I'll have a picture here so you'll be able to see. Also, I don't know what this curl is doing today, but it's going to drive me nuts, and I'm going to put a headband in, and then it's going to give me a headache. I'm all discombobulated today. I had a massive migraine yesterday, so I've got fuzzy migraine brain, so hopefully this is somewhat coherent. Hence why I did most of that April stitch yesterday, because I was just sitting and watching Gilmore Girls on the iPad and stitching. The next I have some progress on is Cottage Garden Samplings, the Fox. And I haven't been stitching on this as much as I thought I would be. Mostly because I got caught up in the Gilmore Girls, so I was stitching on the things that I had digital patterns for, because I have like a 27-inch monitor. So I have like Netflix over here, and then I have my pattern here. So it's like a little side-by-side action going. And so this is a paper pattern. I usually stitch this when I need to not be at my desk anymore and sit on the couch. Under my little, if you can see it back there, little raven lamp. I don't know. It was in 2020. It was an Instagram ad, and we all were hurting for dopamine in 2020, so I don't know. I bought a raven lamp. It's cute, though. Anyway, so I'm working on the Fox. And this is a, hold on, did I keep the label? Nope, that's not that label. It's by Picture This Plus. And I don't remember, it's a 28 count linen. But I don't remember the name of the color. But I did go through until I selected a blue that I liked. And not a ton of progress here from last time. I'm still just kind of going through that russet color. But this has been, this morning, this was my catch up on podcasts. because we're gearing up for a conference at work. So I've just kind of been a little brain dead in the evenings. So I haven't really been listening to my podcasts this week. So, but yeah, I love the russet color on this blue linen. It really pops. I really enjoy it. The next one, I made some really good progress on this that was just started. And this is by Lesley Teare. It is Spring Blue Tit. And I have been making all of the jokes about the name of the bird that you can imagine. I sent pictures of my progress to my friends, and I was like, hey, look at my tit! Because I'm 12. I don't know. It was funny to me. So I'm such a child. Anyway, so this is a really pretty pattern, and this is I made a lot of really good progress on it. You can't really see if I can get it up close. You can't really see his little beak, but it's over there in yellow. It'll be outlined in backstitch, so you'll be able to see it. And I will pop a picture up here about what it looks like. And this is, maybe I do it over here, because if I do it over on the other one, it blocks my light, and then my face gets weird. I should have done this earlier, but I took a nap instead because I'm still recovering from a headache. The light in here just isn't as good right now. But yeah, I was on Sweetwater Stitcher. Jessica had her 1-year anniversary on Flosstube, and she had a Zoom. So I'm in her Facebook group, and I joined the Zoom, and I did most of the stitching on this. It was really fun. It was nice to chat. I really like, let me get this closer here so you can just see these just beautiful spring colors in this. Maybe if I pull it back here, you'll really see how this that purple really pops on this beautiful fabric. This is also my picture of this plus. If I tilt it, can you see the shimmer? Not really. It's an opalescent. If you have an opalescent fabric, you know they're way shinier in person than you can really capture on camera. But these is, it's called Confetti, and it's a 28 count linen. And I just was hungry for some spring color. So, this is what I've been working on. And, yeah, the Zoom was really fun because it's a lot of folks who stitch different things than I stitch. And I like that about Flosstube. I like seeing things that, because oftentimes I don't really think of myself as a sampler person. I don't really want to stitch it. I don't really decorate. Obviously, I don't. This is not an Americana decorated sort of household, which, we're way too nerdy. So we have all sorts of other things all over the place. And I like that style. I like seeing that style. It just doesn't, you can like lots of other things that aren't for you, necessarily. It is not the style that I would have my house in, but that I would love to visit, Also, my husband is allergic to anything that even remotely smells like it might be rustic. So he will veto some decor choices if he deems it too rustic and has too many sticks. Which is fine. I keep him from getting too modern, and he keeps me from getting way too shabby chic. So we have a nice style that meets in the middle, right? There's some eccentricity to it, but there's also just some nice modern lines. Sort of contemporary, but we have enough quirkiness to keep us from being a Pottery Barn catalog. Not that I wouldn't live in a Pottery Barn catalog. We all would. Come on, be honest. Anyway, back to, this is a channel about cross-stitch. But I like seeing, it's kind of neat to see, because I don't always love the pictures of the sample pictures and things that are on the labels or on the websites for different patterns. So it's fun to see other people do it, because then I see it in person, or I see it with a color change, or I see it on a different fabric. Stitching by the shore, Laura always gets me with her fabric choices. like, she'll stitch stuff that I never would have thought to pick up, and she'll stitch it on some neat, cool colored fabric that just gets my attention because I love bright colors. I don't know how you can tell this from the pillows that are behind me, but I love bright colors. So it's always fun to see that. And then also, even if they stitch it on, your aged linen, they're doing a historical reproduction, it's fun to see that stitched because I wouldn't stitch it. So it's fun to see other people do it. It's just like the big heaven and earth design ones. I have no desire to stitch one of those. I would toss it out the window, but I like seeing other people stitch it. Like, I like seeing what, like Needlecraft Danny. She's a German cross stitcher, and she does all these big full coverage pieces and stuff. And so it's always really cool to see her work because it's not something that I would necessarily do. So I like that, but that's what I like about Flosstube, is I like picking up projects that I absolutely would do, and then I like seeing people stitch things that I wouldn't stitch, which is just kind of neat. Oh, I forgot one whip. I did work on I didn't pull out the pattern, so hold on one second. I am going to, sorry about that. I forgot to pull out the picture. I did do a little bit on Dockside Quilts, but I'm in just confetti hell, basically. This is the picture of what it will look like when it's finished, and I'm working on these green bushes up here, which, like, Jesus take the wheel. But, I pop on podcasts, I count, I get it done. So it's not going to look like it did a lot, but it did, I promise. So here you go. You can kind of see the progress that I made on the green up there. It's probably about an inch worth of filling in there. Doesn't look like a lot, felt like a lot. I will be very, when I'm in stitching mode on it, I like it, I don't mind. Like, it's just sort of meditative, right? And so that's nice. Sorry for the crinkling here. But I'm not always motivated to pick it up, because I look at it and I'm like, oh my god, there's so much to do. And then I just ignore it and go back to one of the ones that has the fun colors. But when I make myself pick it up, I enjoy stitching on it, and I like seeing how it comes together, and I'm really going to enjoy seeing this finished. And I also, it's nice if, like, my arm hurts from, such a baby, my wrist hurts from holding a Q-snap. Oh no! But I want to switch and, stitch two-handed through the frame, then I do that. I don't have a ton of haul. There's the threads, the Weeks Dye Works threads that I picked up for the monthly trio set that I'm gonna go through and show you each color. But they're pretty. And they're not that different from the previous month, right? Like, it's got some spring colors and various things, but I think they're pretty common colors, like begonia, amethyst, things like that. When I bought those, sometimes you go and you buy a thread and it's like, but it'll be lonely in its package all by itself. So you pick up something else off your wish list. And I don't remember when I added this to my wish list, but then I had to open it up and look at it. It's a Reelless kit. And I think I put it on there because my mom likes stuff like this. Also, it's not something that I would necessarily keep in my house, like, decorate with, but I feel like it'll be fun to stitch. And then I will give it to my mother, who has the taste of a 1970s hippie, reading Tolkien for the first time. So, I love my mom. But, she loves dragons and wizards and things, and brightly colored things. So this will be for her. But I'll have fun stitching it because the colors are really cool. It's a Reelless kit. Reelless is a company out of Lithuania, I think. So I'm not sure what the language is on it it's in Cyrillic. I don't know if it's I don't really know enough about Lithuania to know if it's in Lithuanian or Russian. It looks Russian to me, but I know that the company is not Russian. I am trying not to buy anything from Russian companies right now because of the invasion of Ukraine. It's just a personal choice. So I'm not going to lecture anyone on boycotts or whatnot, but anyway, this is what it will look like. And I actually miss the fact that it's on a pre-printed fabric, which I don't normally stitch on that. But so I thought it was going to be more of like a full coverage thingy, but it's just really more honestly just you're really just stitching the dragon itself. But he's a handsome fella, and like I said, I think it'll be one of those ones that I don't keep, but is fun to stitch. And then this is I opened it up so I could see the fabric. So this is what the fabric looks like. So it's got the trees and the yellow background and everything. So you're really, like I said, you're just kind of stitching the dragon on, which seems kind of weird to me, but then I think it'll actually be like a neat, might frame it for my mom, because I think it'll give it a really neat sort of multimedia-ish texture. And I'm not going to show you the pattern, I'm just going to flash it real quick, so that it's full color, which I think is really cool. I've not seen that. It's normally, the color budgets on these are different. This is the first realist kit I've actually, like, opened up. So I don't know if they're all like that or if it's just that one. But it's like every single color is its own color. Which, again, I never see that. And I did pick up another realist kit, and I love this guy. So the dragon is actually with, it's not with their usual sort of wool thread. It's anchor thread, which I like. I don't like it quite as much as I like DMC, but I like it. And then this one is with their typical wool. And it's a wool acrylic hybrid, they say. And they have a whole, actually, I was just looking at it. They have a whole thing in here about why they use wool. I like it. I like the soft colors. I haven't really stitched with it yet, so, get back to me when I do. But this is this little red panda guy. I love the colors. And I mean, who doesn't love a red panda? They're ridiculous. I want to cuddle them. Never going to cuddle one because they're wild animals, and that would be idiotic. Dumb ways to die. Don't cuddle wild animals. But I don't care who does it on TikTok. Don't. Anyway. So, but I love the colors. And I have an affinity for, russet colored animals. Being one myself, in a way. Humans are animals. We don't like to think we are, but we are. This is a channel about cross-stitch, not philosophy. Alright. The other one I'll show you real quick, and again, sorry for any crinkling, is I got my recent issue of Crosstitcher magazine, which is a British magazine. And I found myself, I really like the British designs. I like the European designers a lot. I like sort of that illustrative style. That's the kind of stuff that I like to stitch. Like Lesley Teare, who's a British designer, various things. But the Cross-Stitcher catalogs often come, I started getting it in person, like the actual physical copy. You'll have to wait. Rather than the digital, because sometimes they do it with little, they'll give you like little kits. So this is your free gift with a magazine. And I guess it's a big thing in England to like do cross-stitch cards and send them. Which the only person I would send them to is my mom. We're actually big on letters in my family. We write a lot of letters to each other, and like, I'll send cards to my sister, but we don't necessarily keep them. Like we might, like I'll scrapbook with cards, right? Like I just cut off the art if I like it and then keep it, but I don't really keep the letter portion. Condo, DC, I don't have space. And then recently I've been using them as, like this is a Christmas card. Gertrude Stein as a child decorates a dog for Christmas. So I had to keep this. But I just turned it into like a floss keep. So I'll do stuff like this. I'm not really going to, I'm not going to really cross stitch and put it on a card and send it unless it's like something collectible. Like, I know that Stitching by the Shore Laura does the artist trading cards cross stitch. Spring here, and it's nice in DC. It's getting on to cherry blossom season. Seriously, don't know what my hair is doing today. Anyway, so cherry blossom season also means the start of the pollinating. So my sinuses are having a field day today. Anyway, because this comes with a little card, which I'm not going to use, and fabric, which I'm not going to use, but I'm going to use the threads, and I'm going to use the pattern, and I'm probably just going to stitch it on like a scrap piece of vintage country mocha or something, and just, I don't know, mount it, maybe put a magnet on it, use it as a fridge magnet. Again, condo, DC, so most of my finishes are going to be stuff that I can put on walls. Because you can kind of see it here, we have very tall ceilings. So I have a lot of real estate to work with in terms of like vertical space, not so much in terms of like horizontal. So, and then the more things that I put out on surfaces, the more cluttered it looks, so I try to I'm bad at it, but we do try to keep surfaces clear. Says the person with dirty dishes piled in the kitchen that you can't see because it's hidden by my bookcase. So that's it really for WIP's finishes and hauls. So that's it for the stitching portion. So if that's all you were here for, you can cut it here and dip. I will not be insulted. If you want to stick around for some book recommendations, I read everything, all across genres, and I am starting to come out of my slump where if I'm in a reading slump, but I want to keep up I want to make my reading goals for the year, I honestly just pick up like a lot of spicy romances, because it's a bag of Doritos, and sometimes you want a wholesome meal. Sometimes you want chips, and I feel like that with books. Sometimes I want something literary and moving and emotional or serious, or sometimes I want nonfiction, which is like a bowl of, I don't know, bran flakes. But sometimes you want a cupcake. Sometimes you just want a little smutty romance. So, because it's something fun that you don't really have to, it plays on archetypes, and, I just blanked on the word, tropes, and things that are familiar, so they're designed to immediately provoke a certain response. So it is, enemies to lovers. Oh, I know what I'm getting in for here. Or, the grumpy guy and a grumpy person and a sunshine person, and like it's stuff that's familiar, so you don't have to think too hard about it. So especially when you're stressed out and you have a lot going on, I mean, that's why romance is so popular. Like, it's entertaining, it's uplifting, it's not stressful to read. Oftentimes they're funny. So I read a lot of that, but I also read a lot of other stuff too. So I'm starting to come out of that slump where all I want to read are spicy romances. So now I'm into a lot of the backlog that's on my Kindle. And I think the first book came out in 2021, by author Naomi Novik. If you are not familiar with her, she wrote the His Majesty's Dragon series, which is the Napoleonic Wars, but what if dragons? It's kind of a neat series. I liked the first couple books, and then, I don't know, the series kind of lost me a little bit, but she was always a really good writer. And I have a couple other books by her that are these one-shots, fairy tale retellings. So Uprooted, which I love Uprooted. And I actually have them right here. So Uprooted is one of my favorite books. I absolutely adore it. And this is Spinning Silver. Um, she is Polish-American, I believe. So these are based on, Slavic mythology. Anyway, she wrote a series, it's a 3-part series, and it came out starting in 2021 called the Scholomance series. And the first book is A Deadly Education. The second book is The Last Graduate. I'll put pictures up here. And the third one is The Golden Enclaves. And it's a really cool series, and it's one of those, like, it's a magic school series, like, but what if the school was trying to kill you? Or rather, what if everything else was trying to kill you, and the school was trying to keep you alive, but it was not doing a very good job of it? And so, like, it's Harry Potter, but deeply dramatic. But it's so well written, and it's so interesting, and the characters are really vivid. It deals a lot with, friendship, and there's some sort of, like, the main character throughout the books is fighting not to become this foretold great villainess that's supposed to be her destiny. But at the same time, it's like you kind of see the world that she's trying to not blow up, essentially, kind of needs to be blown up. It's a really, I don't want to give too much away, so I would definitely, if you like that kind of, if you like fantasy and things like that, I would definitely pick those up. They're very, very good. And in a departure from that, I started reading finally. It's been on my wish list forever. I know, like, everybody and their mother has read it, but I finally picked up a copy of the paperback from a bookstore on my birthday last year, and it is the 7 Husbands of Evelyn Hugo. Same author that did Daisy Jones and the Six, and which I also haven't read yet, but again, it's been on my wish list, and I definitely want to watch it before the movie comes. Well, I don't know that I want to read it before I see the movie. Or maybe I won't. I don't really care either way. Sometimes I like to know what's coming, but then also things like, the movie Annihilation, which, unless you are a horror movie fan, don't watch that movie. It's going to look briefly like sci-fi, and if you like sci-fi and you're like, I'm going to watch Annihilation, don't. It's terrifying. And, but I actually saw that movie before I read this books. My husband had read the books. And it's a 3-part series by Jeff Vandermeer, and Jeff Vandermeer writes sci-fi horror, in a way. And there's something sort of eldritch and Lovecraftian about his horror, where it is, I'm trying to think of a way to describe it, because Jeff Vandermeer is one of those writers that is just undescribable. I don't know how to describe it. Do I have? I do. Hold on. Back to the bookshelf. So this is nope, that's the 3rd book. Hold on. No, come back here. Come back here. Please hold. I about knocked down my bookshelf. Let's try that again, this time without knocking down the bookshelf. If my husband sees this, I'm kidding. I wasn't actually knocking down the bookshelf. I just kind of knocked a book behind the Brandon Sanderson books. So it needed retrieval. I promise I'm not tearing down our furniture. So this is the first book, Annihilation. And this trilogy I read after I saw the movie. And I will say the movie, you're going to see if you see the movie, and you're like, this doesn't make any sense, you're not going to like the books, because they don't make any sense. And that's the nature of the horror, right? It's because it is just outside of your understanding, that triggers a fear response. And so it's like, you're trying to understand, and you can get the gist of what's going on, but you can't get everything spelled out, because it's cosmic horror. You are not supposed to understand. The whole a lot of the horror comes from the fact that it is beyond the scope of a normal human's understanding or ability to comprehend. And so that aspect of it, that sort of hugeness and overwhelmingness is a common thread throughout his books, in that you will sort of kind of get the gist of what's going on, but you're also deeply unsettled because you don't. So if that's your cup of tea, or you think it sounds intriguing, then definitely read the Southern Reach trilogy. But yeah. Anyway, the way that this dovetails into Daisy Jones and the Six is I'm not sure if it's going to be one of those stories where I really wish I would have read it before the movie or after the movie. This I'm glad I read after I saw the movie, because there's a lot of things in here that don't translate to the screen, or don't translate to the screen in a feature film format. They might in like a really creepy TV show, but again, it would be really hard to do it justice, because it's a much wider audience for TV shows than books. Not like overall, but like Jeff Vandermeer fans and fans of cosmic horror reading are a little bit of a smaller base with specific interests that you can hit in a book format that you can't really translate to screen. Anyway, you get me. So I really was just going to tell you about the 3 Naomi Noviks that I read, and then the 7 Husbands of Evelyn Hugo, but then you got a brief detour to the bookshelf. And those are just the books that I kept, and new books that I've been buying. I have to thin the herd. We thinned out most of our bookcases down to this, although we still have a lot of like big coffee table books and reference books and things like that lying around the place. Anyway, 7 Husbands of Evelyn Hugo is very good so far, so I'm definitely going to enjoy it, and I'm sure that I'll also really like Daisy Jones and the Six. So that concludes our book talk portion of this Flosstube, which is the channel about Crosstitch, and also books, apparently. So hopefully you guys like this section. So I had a couple people last time said they wrote down some of the authors that I recommended, so that's fun. I figure we all kind of share similar interests. And, you know, we're here for recommendations on things, whether it's stitching or books. So I'm dragging here because I've got fuzzy brains, so I'm going to go ahead and just wrap it up. What's the 30 right thing? Shut it down! So I will do that. Thank you for sticking with me for this rambling bit, this portion. Thank you if you've watched all 4 of my videos so far. I really appreciate you. If you like this video, please like it. If you want to see more of my stuff, please subscribe. And comment. I do try to answer every comment. I'm not at such a volume that that's impossible. So, thanks for sticking with me. And I'll see you next time. This has been Judy from the District Stitcher.